الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام والأتمان الأكملان على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحابته ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Today, inshallah, we will take the last evidence that the author rahimahullah pointed out, that is the presumption of continuity or istishab al-hal. And if I remember correctly, we talked about the definition of presumption of continuity. That is, to linguistically speaking, it means to be accompanied by, to be escorted by, or with. This is the linguistic meaning. But for the terminological meaning, when I talk about istishab al-hal or presumption of continuity, it means that we establish the rulings for the things in the future, any facts or rulings in the future, based on the assumption of their continuity because of the past or because of their past. So we establish the same rulings or the same facts that they were in the past, we apply them in the future. Okay? Meaning that they are going to be applicable as they were in the past. So this is the meaning of a presumption of continuity. Istishab al-hal. The author rahimahullah, he said the meaning of presumption of continuity, istishab al-hal, which is binding, is that the default position, al-asl, is taken in the absence of legal advice. This is not a definition of it, is actually one of its types. One of the types of istishab al-hal is the presumption, is what he saw, the default ruling is taken in the absence of legal evidence, meaning that that the status quo, that there's no evidence that the status quo has changed. But the definition is what I've pointed to you. So then again, if we have a fact that we know in the past, or we know a ruling that has been already established in the past, then we have the assumption that it's going to continue unless otherwise pointed out. هذا هو معنى استصحاب الحال. استصحاب الحال, the Hanabila as well as the Shafi'iyya, they would consider it to be an evidence, as opposed to Al-Hanafiyya and the majority of Al-Malikiyya. You won't consider it to be an evidence. Definitely for Al-Zahiriyya, it is a major evidence. The preponderant opinion is that the presumption of continuity won't be considered to be as an evidence by itself, but rather it is going to be considered a qaida, an axiom. The reason is that for the nature of the evidentiality of something, it means that it is to be consistent, whereby every time the evidence is present or available, then the consequent will follow suit. Because this is not the case for al-istishab, that's why we call it qaida. Al-qaida, or the legalistic or jurisprudential or juristic axiom, is that it is applicable in most cases. So it is not consistent, whereby that it will entail the consequence. And I wish, inshallah, you understand the difference. One major difference between an evidence and an axiom. When we talk about an axiom, not a maxium, an axiom, A-X-I-O-M, is that, which is a qaida in the Arabic language, is that for an evidence to be an evidence, it means that it's consistent, whereby every time the antecedent exists, then the consequent will follow suit. So it entails it, istalzimuha. As opposed to a qaida. A qaida is a general deductive understanding, and that is abstract, under which we have a lot of particularities, a lot of individual cases. But it's not necessarily to be applicable in every single case, in every single individual case. That's why you say that for every rule there is what? An exception. But you can't say that for every evidence there is exception. You can say that the evidence, because of its generality, there is a specification, but there is no exception. Okay, you can't say this for an evidence, but you can say it for an axiom, يعني in the terminological sense. So therefore, because we notice that the presumption of continuity is not applicable in all cases, therefore we come to the conclusion that this is not an evidence, this is not a nature of evidence. It is in fact a nature of what we call axiom. But Al-Hanabila, Shafi'iyya, as well as Al-Zahiriyya, they will consider it to be an evidence. Yes, it is an evidence that they call al-dhanni. It's not a categorical one, but it's still considered as evidence. You can't, yani for them, they don't consider it to be not or in evidence. It is an evidence. It's uncategorical, we agree, but it's still evidence. There are multiple evidences that they utilize in order to prove its evidentiality, to prove it as evidence. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of their evidences is that we say that Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَمَنْ جَاءَهُ مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ فَانْتَهَى فَلَهُ مَا سَلَفَ. Allah speaks about the ruling of usury. Before the revelation of its prohibition, Allah says that whomever is given the sermon, the warning, then they stop, then Allah Azza wa Jalla will let go. Allah will forgive that which was in the past. Now, how do we utilize this ayah to prove the presumption of continuity? Because they were doing it based on the presumption of allowability. So because of that, Allah Azza wa Jalla forgave them for what they did in the past, because they base it on presumption of continuity. For them, it was allowed, and that's what they did. Allah forgave that. Forgives that which was in the past. That tells we are not held accountable for the things that they were in the past, because we utilize the presumption of continuity. This is how we usually utilize this ayah to prove that that we can utilize a presumption of continuity or a continuation of an already established fact or ruling in the past to be applicable in the future. Also, one of the evidences that the Prophet ﷺ said, لا ينصرف حتى يسمع صوتا أو يجد ريحا. When a person is in a state of doubt, when he is praying, whether that his wudu is nullified or not, the Prophet ﷺ said that let him not nullify his prayer until he hears something or smells something. What does that mean? What does that mean? That you continue with that which is already established for you until it's proven otherwise. That's why he said that let him not nullify or leave prayer, finish prayer, until there is an evidence. Otherwise, he will assume the continuation of his status quo. Also, one of the evidences that the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Bayyinatu al-Mudda'i. The Prophet ﷺ said that the bayyinah, the evidence, is the burden of the plaintiff, not the defendant. Why is that? Hadith ibn Abbas. Why is that? The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Bayyinatu al-Mudda'i. That the evidence, al-Bayyinah, the proof, is on the burden of the plaintiff. Why is that? Because the liability of the defendant is void, irresponsible, until proven otherwise. So he assumed, he let us continue with that which has been already established. That is the null status or state of the liability of a person. Clear? هل هذا واضح يا إخوة? Are you with us?
Is the liability of the defendant is presumed to be innocent?
Yes, absolutely. Until proven otherwise. That's why the plaintiff needs to provide a proof. If otherwise, then the defendant is completely and absolutely irresponsible, unliable. ولهذا نحن نقول إن الذمة بريئة, innocent. Your liability is innocent. So if a person comes now and says that that you owe to me $1,000, okay? Now, do you need to negate? Do you need to prove? No. It is absolutely his responsibility. Okay? If he does not provide an evidence, إذا ما جاء بالدليل, but he continued to be presented, then we ask you to say that I swear by Allah that I don't owe to that person anything. Then you can leave. Okay? If it comes to us that there is da'wah, we call it, as a suit, that is that he intends to harm the defendant, we call it da'wah kaydiyya, then he will be held responsible, that he can be punished. Okay? The point here is that the Prophet ﷺ gave us this statement that al-bayyinatu ala al-mudda'i. What does that mean? That there is an assumption of continuity of the innocent liability of any person until it's proven otherwise. Is that clear, inshallah? So this is one of the textual evidences. Also, one of the evidences that we can utilize is the rational evidences. One of the rational evidences that we can utilize to prove presumption of continuity, we say that now when we encounter an occasion whereby if we assume continuity of the status quo, okay, this is the only available evidence that we have, is to assume continuity, to presume continuation of the status quo. If this is the case, then for the lack of any other evidence for that, we have what? Uncategoriality or uncertainty that this is the status quo and it's gonna continue. Once we establish that, there is a qa'idah fi sharia. What is it? That we resort to uncertainty in the absence of certainty. If we cannot achieve, acquire, attain certainty, then a sharia will refer us back to where? To uncertainty. This is the axiomatic behavior of a sharia. So therefore, and because of this, we would assume a continuation of a status quo for the lack of negation for the status quo. So therefore, we have, although we agree that we are uncertain, because there is a possibility that there is an evidence, but because of the lack of that evidence, then we assume continuation. واضح? So this is one of the rational evidences that we can utilize. Also, one of the evidences that we can utilize to prove the utility of the presumption of continuation is to say that when we observe actually the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do we observe regularities, continuities, or we observe irregularities and chaos and lawlessness? We observe regularities. That's why when you see the clouds coming together, you would expect rain. Okay. Why do you accept that? Because there is regularity. Okay. When I threw it, I expect it to go down. Why is that? Because there is the regularities. It's not necessary. It could happen otherwise, but this is how it's happening. It's been going on. Okay, it could be otherwise. There is nothing, reasonably says otherwise. Yeah, there's nothing by your pure rationality says that if you threw it, it won't go up. It's only by your observation. We observed it to go down. Okay. Then later on we call this gravity or not. Like المهم, we witness regularities. Once we know that, then الشرع الشريعة Okay, Sharia is the command of Allah. Now, what is the juxtaposition to it? Is the creation of Allah. Since we are witnessing the creation of Allah to be regular, continuous, law-oriented, then we would assume this is to be His command. لأن الله يقول ألا له الخلق والأمر. Both are to Allah. If His creation is observed to be regular, continuous, then also going to be the case for His command, for His shara. Also, ya ikhwan, one of the evidences that we can utilize is that now when we see a Sharia يعني refers to continuation of many rulings. يعني once we, for example, if you claim that you pay me the debt and I deny it, then the statement is whose more preferable statement? We agree, me and you agree that you owe me $100. You owe to me $100. We all agree. But where is the difference? You say that I paid you off. I said you don't.
Me, the one who said he paid you off.
Why?
Because he's claiming something, he has to bring the proof.
So did you pay me off?
Yes.
لا, you say otherwise. Now there is no bayina يا إخوة. If there is bayina خلاص انتهينا. If there is proof, we have a proof. There is no need of assumption. We have a proof, but we're talking in the lack of proof. Okay, it's the statement. Now I am saying that you didn't pay me off. You're saying that I paid you off. So we agreed that there is a debt, that we have that your liability is what? Busy. We agree. You agree that your liability is busy, but you're saying that now it is void. So what should we assume in the lack of evidence?
That he didn't.
That he didn't pay you off. He didn't pay me off. This is what we continue to assume. So for example, if you come to me, you say that I gave you $1,000. I say that you gave it to me as a gift. You say I gave it to you as a loan. Who is the right one?
Me?
Why?
Because I'm the person that gave it to you.
So,
In the absence of evidence.
but you're gonna make me pay you.
You're going to be right now.
Now, what's the habit of people? Do people usually give their money as a gift, or they give it not necessarily as a loan, for exchange, okay, for sale or for loan, okay, or investment? They want to profit. The point here is that usually people don't give because they want it as a gift. Okay, now when you see people exchanging something in the streets, you assume that this is a gift, especially if the مثلا $500, $600, not just some pennies. Okay, what do you assume? You assume that there is some sort of exchange here. There is some sort of exchange, sale, rent, loan, investment. This is what we assume. So therefore, we will presume continuity of this. That is what.
There's the asl.
Yes, that we will return to al-asl. What is al-asl? I say that you gave it to me as a gift. You're saying that I gave you as a loan. Then his statement is the preferable one. Until there is a proof, I can prove that he gave it to me as a gift. For example, we have a contract. He says that this is e-gift, or a WhatsApp message, مثلا, or something. That there is a proof. But in the absence of a proof, we will presume continuity. Clear? So because of that, we say, this is how we observe a Sharia behaves. Now, if you have wudu, then you doubt that your wudu is nullified. What does the Sharia say? You're still in the state of ritual purity. Now, if we agree that this is your car, then someone else comes and she says that, will you sell that to me? what do we assume? It's still your car. Still your car. You need to prove that he sold it to you. Okay? Now, once we prove that this is your wife, okay? Then someone comes and says, well, she is my wife. Okay? Or you have divorced her. Then what should we do? نعم نثبت على الأصل. This is the عادة of الشريعة. هذه عادة الشريعة. Okay? ولهذا يا إخوة, we have observed that the Sharia continuous is in يعني الشريعة behavior is to be constant with the previous status, يعني quo, to be applicable, or the former status quo to be applicable in future quos. Clear هذا يا إخوة? They call it in the legal terms here, they call it quo ante. Quo ante. Or sometimes they call it neat. Roman terminology. The point here is that this is how a Sharia behaves. طيب يا إخوة, you should bear in mind, you should know that assumption of continuity is for the negation as well as for the affirmation. So, in as much as we presume continuity of things not to exist, so that we negate them. So, for example, in the example that we give for the debt, that your liability is void, so we negate the business of your liability. Why? Because of the assumption of continuity to the negative effect. It's also for the affirmative effect, that this is actually your car, this is actually your wife. Okay? So we don't, in as much as we affirm, in as much as we negate. Now, for Hanafis and for some Malikis, sometimes they say that you use it for a dafa', but you don't use it for al-ithbat. هو حجة في الدفع. I will give you an example just to touch it. لكن elaboration will be afterwards inshallah. Let's assume now a person went to a forest to camp, or in the Grand Canyons. He went to some hazardous places, dangerous places. Then he disappeared. Okay? Now, we have two issues. Is he alive or not?
Presumption is he is alive.
Yes, because we know that he was alive, so we continue with that. Okay? The second thing is that if we assume his death, okay, هذا يسمى مسألة المفقود. Umar رضي الله عنه, during his time, he said that he will, for us to consider him to be dead, we need 4 years and 9 months. Okay, this is for his time, and this is a madhab عندنا. طيب, let's مثلا after this 4 years and 9 months, let's assume that after we considered him now dead, now he's going to be inherited, right? طيب, before we consider him to be dead, one of his sons died. Can he inherit him? Can he inherit him, مثلا? Now, what does Al-Hanafiyyah say? The majority who take presumption of continuity to be authoritative, they would say that for the negation as well as for the affirmation. So he will inherit, okay? To establish new rights. Also to defend. Not only for the affirmation, but also for the for the not not also for the negation, but also for the affirmation. So, for example, they say that, مثلا, his wife will continue to be his wife. مثلا, he had sales, his cars will continue to be his sales, but he has عقد سلم. Okay, that aqd will be fulfilled as if he is alive, because this is what we assume. We're going to handle the case as if he is alive. This is what we assume. We presume that he is still alive. So we will handle it. We will handle it to be as if he is alive. So, for example, he won't be inherited now. He can, for the majority, he can inherit. One of his sons died. He can inherit because he is considered to be alive. مثلا, he has a rental. We will continue with this contract. So we will handle him, we will handle that case as if he is alive. This is how we assume. In the affirmation of rights, as well as in the negation of them. For the Hanafiyyah, they said no. It's only for the affirmation. His wife will continue to be his wife. His car will continue to be his car. His house will continue to be his house. Okay? Any contractual transactions that he made, they will be established as such. He made. But he cannot assume no rights. So he won't inherit. Okay? He can't be wali. You see? He can't inherit. He can't, for them, it's for negation, not for affirmation. You can't establish new rights. واضح؟ لكن القول الصحيح, the preponderant opinion is that we say that you will utilize the presumption of continuity, because it's only reasonable for the affirmation as well as for the negation. Okay? ولهذا هم عندهم يقولون ما يستعمل حجة في الدفع لا في الإثبات. Okay? You can't establish new rights. وإنما you only utilize it for negation. حجة في الدفع لا في الإثبات. طيب. There are multiple issues that they would ensue as a consequence. For example, مثلا, if a person says that مثلا, I divorced my wife. I am sure I have divorced her, but he is hesitant whether there is a 3 or 1. Now, I will give you the rulings, and I'd like to reflect on the causes. Now, the majority say that it is what? 1. Malik rahimahullah, he said that it is 3. Why? Both will utilize presumption of continuity. But look how they look at it. They look at it from different angles. Yes, Abdullah.
He said he divorced his wife. And maybe you can look into how much time has passed.
No, he said that I don't know if it is a 3 or if it's 1. I am 100% sure I have divorced, but I don't know if it is 1 or 3. Now, the majority say both utilize presumption of continuity. The majority say that it is only 1. Malik says it's actually 3, based on presumably to be continuous. Yes.
It would be logical to say 3 because he would know if he divorced her more than once.
See, he say I'm reluctant. I'm doubtful. I'm not sure. Okay. هو هذا هي اليقين لا يزول بالشك مبنية على هذا. So what does the majority say? نعم. But we are in doubt of what? Now you know that you have 1, but we are in doubt of more. So therefore, because of the lack of the approval, proven more, then we will assume that it's 1. Okay? Yes. طيب, why would Malik say no? It's going to be 3.
because أكيد حسب طلاق الشركة اللي حاسب وقت الواحد 3
Why? Why you don't go with the one?
Because the asl of talaq is separation. The asl of talaq is like to separate.
لا بالعكس الأصل فيها أنها واحدة ثم الثانية ثم الثالث هذا الأصل. So yes. So أي yes, لكن why would Malik say otherwise? He said no, I will consider it to be 3. The continuation is to be 3, not to be 1.
Malik doesn't want to affirm his marriage to her through continuation, but he will affirm that he divorced her completely. He won't give him the right of marriage.
He said, now, we have what? Now, if he has divorced her, if it is a 3 or 1, okay, if it is a 3, it means that there is no raj'ah, سمى البتة. So, we have now 2 continuities. One is the continuation of the marital contract or the right of revocation. Because if you say there is 1, then she can return. Okay, he can return her. Okay, revocation, raj'ah. But if this is not the case, if it is a 3, then there is no revocation. So what he's saying is that because the establishment of the right of revocation is not al-asl. واضح? So therefore he said that I will consider it to be 3. So the continuation is that there is no revocation. This is the assumption that he assumed, rahimahullah. Now, why I'm pointing this out is to say that sometimes, the ulama, they will establish the negation in opposition to the affirmation, or that they will establish the affirmation in opposition to the negation. Sometimes the negation itself is the cause of the affirmation. واضح؟ ولهذا sometimes, in many occasions, both scholars, they will realize, or حتى المذاهب, they will realize presumption of continuity. But they will differ up to what extent one is given priority over the other. And this is a lot, يعني a lot of implementations of it. مثلا في الكريمنال law كما يسمونه هنا يعني في الجنايات. Okay? فهذا it has a lot. Yes.
I'm sorry to disturb you. Okay?
Yes.
There is a confusion between the talaq and conflict between husband and wife. So husband, while he is very hungry and say, I don't want to live with you. So is that considered to be talaq?
لا هذا ما يسمى طلاق. I don't want to live with you, meaning, I'm not comfortable with you.
Yeah, he doesn't mean it hardly.
Yeah.
Just to prevent her from
No.
going wrong.
Yes, it's not at all هذا طلاق. No.
So he has to mention the kalimat al-talaq, right?
This is what we call the explicit طلاق. Like if you say طلقتك أنت لست زوجة لي اخرجي من البيت. We have what we call implicit طلاق الكناية. Yeah. لكن هذا again, this we would return to the intention. If he says that, well, I'm not sure about my intention, we will go to the circumstance. If there is no circumstance when he uttered it, we will go to the customary understanding of that behavior, and then we will be able to determine. But if otherwise, it's not talaq. Right? Yeah. So this was just an example. It's not a further discussions. This is in the jurisprudence books. المهم here that you understand. Just I want you to bear this in mind. Inshallah, when you go to deep discussions, higher levels, you will understand that because that both parties, they assume continuity, but is it the continuation of the negation or the presumption of affirmation? And then which one is going to be given priority? This is part of the reason that sometimes they will realize the same evidence لكن يختلفون فيه بتحقيق المناط. ولهذا يا إخوة look يا إخوة لا العلم يا إخوة العلم صناعة. It's industry. العلم يا إخوة لا يأتي هكذا. It's not because you take يعني some book. العلم you need ممارسة. You need to practice. حتى يكون إنسان يسمى عنده الملكة. يكون عنده ملكة الفقه. ولهذا يا إخوة يعني الآن هذولا يعني this is والله يا إخوة it's my sincere advice. And for those يعني brothers جزاهم الله خيرا they are يعني هذا ضال وهذا مبتدع وهكذا. يا إخوان اشتغلوا بالعلم. حرر العلم يعني work on yourself. عود نفسك التحرير النظر. You are not يعني I'm so sorry يعني والله الذي لا إله غيره يعني يعلم الله هذا الذي أقول. You are absolutely not eligible يعني even to be accepted in some high schools. ترى يعني الإنسان يعني you need to be disciplined. Part of the discipline is that you work on yourself. Work on العلم. تعلم يا أخي تعلم. Learn. Why are you wasting your time هذا؟ يعني nobody cares about what you're saying. يعني many of those يعني brother جزاهم الله خيرا. والله ما في أحد. Nobody cares about what you're saying. You can so easily exposed يعني. If I ask you يعني if I give you آية مثلا then I ask you to make تخصيص for it. Do you know then you won't be able to, which is so basic. يعني a person in the middle school he can know this. إذا don't waste your time. You spend 6 years, 7 years, 10 years doing this and if I meet you don't know what's going on. هذا والله من خذلان الشيطان يا أخي. هذا من خذلان الشيطان. Capitalize on your time. Work on yourself. Because nobody cares about what you're saying. Focus on what you're doing. أنت عرفت, you know now the truth, stick to it. Don't be distracted. What do you think about this? Stick to what you're doing. The ulama will be taking care of this. أنت الآن focus on هذا. حرر العلم يا إخوة صناعة. والله it's very very difficult now to find يعني a person once upon a time that you find a person who can engage in really scholarly discussions, really jurisprudential discussion. علم, you enjoy discussing with him. You're just so boring. يعني ما في علم, ما في sometimes why you don't debate that? You should debate يا أخي. ما يعرف يعني how do you debate? Because for a debate you need some common ground. You understand me? You know there is some sort of a language. But if I speak Chinese and you speak English and you want us to talk about a topic, there is no common language. ما في common language. يعني you end up teaching. فهذا مهم يا إخوة. الآن يا إخوة عليكم أن تعتنوا بالعلم. لا تضيعوا أوقاتكم. Don't waste your time here and there. العلم كما ترى العلم you need time. You need a lot of effort. Many of the greatest scholars يا إخوة that they came to these rulings after they spent what? يعني they spend time to seek knowledge. Do you think that they wake up in the morning and lie like this? لا يا إخوة العلم تبي وقت. لازم يشتد عودك. You need time. Work on yourself. Focus on seeking. Then inshallah there will be time. These issues will be so easily tackled for you. بعون الله تعالى وتيسيره. طيب يا إخوة الاستصحاب we have basically we have multiple ways of استصحاب. يعني what we call أنواع الاستصحاب. مثلا we have استصحاب البراءة الأصلية. استصحاب البراءة the presumption of the continuity of the original what did he call the default position or the original case. هذا يسمى استصحاب البراءة الأصلية. Okay, like that. If someone says that you bought from me this house, now where is the burden of proof? Me or you? I say you bought from me that property.
It's on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Why? Because of al-bara'ah al-asliyya. the innocent liability. Also, استصحاب الدليل. Okay, the continuation of the implication of الدليل or the signification of it, the denotation. What do you mean by this? If you have general, then it will continue to be general until proven that there is a specification. If it is ظاهر, you keep it as it is. Okay, until there is something will make it mu'awwal. There is no nasakh, there is no abrogation until proven that there is abrogator, and so on and so forth. If you go with al-majaz, you would say that it is haqiqah until it is proven that it is metaphorical. So even the implication of the evidence, the implication of it, you will continue with the mutlaq until it's proven to be مقيد وهكذا. هذا أصل عظيم تمسك به هذا. You hold firm to it and تبقى على, and that you continue or you presume the continuation of the denotation of the evidence. Also, the استصحاب الحكم. Okay, مثلا that يعني we know مثلا if a person that a pregnant woman, her iddah won't be finished until she delivers. Whether that her pregnancy because of zina or because of marriage. Why? Because some ulama say if the pregnancy is because of zina, then it's not that her iddah is not to deliver. What is her iddah? Because we know who is this child for. Okay, and there is no waiting period for the husband. So what do they say? That it's going to be that there is no iddah. Okay, that there is no iddah. Allah says وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَجَلُهُنَّ يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. A general statement. This is an already established hukum. What is a hukum? That a pregnant woman, her iddah is to deliver. خلاص, you stick to that. You presume continuity. واضح? Also, one of the things that we would call them types of ijma', types of continuity, is that you presume continuity for ijma' until proven that there is that if there is khilaf. You stick to that which is agreed upon until it is proven if there is khilaf. الظاهرية, this is the way that الظاهرية do it. مثلا, you know أم الولد a slave, she has children. Now, for them, whether that she has children or not, if she is مثلا, is it possible to be sold, like what they usually call it? مثلا, is it possibly to be sold? They say that, look, we have agreed that if she does not have children, then she can be sold. So therefore, if you have a dispute, we will presume the continuity of the ruling. واضح? Even if she has children. Another example. مثلا, now, we agree that if you don't find water, you can resort to tayammum. Now, while you're praying, there is water. Is it going to be nullifying your prayer or not? The presence of water. They say that, look, we have agreed, if there is no water, then you can pray by tayammum. Now we have the dispute, so therefore we will presume continuity. Okay? وهكذا. هذه يقول بها الظاهرية. This is the opinion of Allah, and they utilize it a lot. Okay? It is highly disputed, but just to mention this. Also, one of the types of al-ijma' على the presuming the continuity when there is صفات عارضة. مثلا, مثلا if مثلا you dispute a dog, is it trained so that if it hunts it will be allowed or not? Now, for a dog to be trained or untrained, this is an attribute, but it's not a constant attribute, right? It could be trained for a while, then it forgets, then it returns, وهكذا. We call it an unconstant attribute, صفات عارضة. So what do they say? That we assume the uncontinuity, the presumption of the continuity of there is no يعني constant attributes. So if we dispute that this dog is trained, what do we say? It's not. مثلا, I hire you. I say that I have discovered that you are what? Unqualified. Okay? And you claim that you are qualified. Who is going to be taken as a right statement? That you acquire this qualification. You are trained. So therefore, my statement will be the prioritized. لأنه الconstant attribute, it's we assume that it's not there. Unconstant attribute. Okay, but however, if you say that he does not see well, this is الأصل that you see well. If I say that he has a bad vision, he does not see well, it's the burden of proof is on me, not on him. But if I say that he is not qualified, I have discovered that he is unqualified, then the burden of proof is on him, because this is what we assume. This is the assumption. Now this is why if you apply to a job, you need to present your qualification, because what's the assumption? You don't have them. You need to prove it. ولهذا the presumption of continuity is utilized heavily في المحاكم, in courts, utilized heavily in many disputes, that if these attributes are constant or unconstant. The constant that we will assume the continuity, we're going to presume the continuity of constant attributes, and we're going to presume the continuity of not possessing unconstant attributes. And وقس على هذا. واضح؟ فهذا أهم ما يتعلق بالاستصحاب. So, but it boils down to the fact that we say that the boundary opinion is that الاستصحاب, presuming continuity, is what? Is it an evidence or قاعدة? قاعدة. هذا هو الصحيح. Then the author رحمه الله said, وأما الأدلة فيقدم الجلي منها على الخفي، والموجب للعلم على الموجب للظن، والنطق على القياس، وقياس الجلي على الخفي. As for evidences, precedence is given to the obvious over the obscure, to certain knowledge over certain suspicion, to transmission over analogy, and to obvious analogy over obscure analogy. Okay, this is called, like what he translated to be priority of evidences, ترتيب الأدلة. وأحيانا تسمى عند العلماء مراتب الأدلة, which they are similar. It should have been after التعارض, conflict of evidences, but he put them here. It's so simple بحمد الله. This is called مراتب الأدلة. هذا شرط في الاجتهاد. This is very important for a mujtahid. Okay, how to order priorities of الأدلة. Okay, especially and particularly when there is conflict. Okay, you will need ترتيب الأدلة when there is conflict, apparent conflict, like we established before. Then he went on rahimahullah to talk generally, and we will make it general, okay, because this is heavy stuff. So we will make it inshallah when we go to مختصر التحرير. He said وأما الأدلة, we talked about الأدلة and the evidence, الأدلة من الشرعية, the الأدلة that would lead to شرعي rulings, and we talked about this. He said فيقدم الجلي منها على الخفي. He said that precedence is given to the obvious over the obscure. Al-Jali, yes, this is the obvious. Al-Jali, al-Wadih. Okay? What is Al-Jali? Al-Jali, now he's talking particularly about, the denotations as well as the qiyas. Both. That's why he said, وَقِيَاسُ الْجَلِي عَلَى الْخَفِي. So it's kind of repetition. Or we can say that since he said, وَقِيَاسُ الْجَلِي عَلَى الْخَفِي, he's talking about the textual evidences to be obvious or obscure, and the qiyas, which is the rational evidences, to be also obvious or obscure. So, فيقدم الجلي منها على الخفي for the text. So therefore, you would go with المحكم over المتشابه. You will give priority to المحكم over المتشابه. Absolutely. You would go to الظاهر with الظاهر over المؤول. You will go with مثلا with المطلق over أن تذهب مع العموم الذي ما دخله التخصيص على العموم الذي دخله التخصيص. You will give a priority to a generality that has not been specified over a generality that has been specified. اللي يسمى عندنا العموم المحفوظ والعموم غير المحفوظ. So and so on and so forth. هل هذا واضح؟ فهذا هو المعنى. You go with الجلي يعني الواضح, obvious. The levels of obviousness is different. لكن it is considered to be obvious compared to the obscurity. you make this comparison. لكن this is again, this is the tools of المجتهد. You need a lot of work inshallah, and you will be able, actually you will enjoy it. Ibn Jawzi رحمه الله يقول في كتاب صيد الخاطر وفي إيضاح عند others. He said that after you take all knowledge, you devote your time to al-fiqh. Indeed, it is the butter, الزبدة of العلوم. Okay? وهذه مقالة الشافعي رحمه الله. Shafi'i used to say that if you need to invest your time in something, you need to invest it in الفقه. الفقه في شريعة الله. Because they are constant, events, constant, things, especially in the transactional part of the Sharia, not in the devotional part. طيب. And then he said, والموجب للعلم على موجب للظن. Yeah. And now he is الموجب للعلم. You're talking about. He is talking about, especially and particularly the narrations. يعني المتواتر will be given a priority over الأحد. Okay, definitely you will go with that which is certain over the things that are not certain, unless there is what تخصيص. لأن المتواتر according to the prominent opinion can be specified by الأحد. يعني الله says يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. This ayah is what? is هذا Quran. Okay? يعني it's authentic all over throughout. Okay? لكن we have the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم say ليس فيما دون 5 أوسق صدقة. It means that it's موثق. What is الموثق? Weighed. يوثق. So it's not anything that is getting out from earth. ولهذا أبو حنيفة, what did he say? أبو حنيفة? Anything that gets out from earth is what? زكاته. To pay زكاته. هذا قول أبي حنيفة, ليس قول أبو يعقوب, ليس قول أبي يعقوب يوسف بن إبراهيم. هذا قول أبي حنيفة, ليس قول الشيخين. وذلك حنفية عندهم على ظاهر الرواية. Why? What's the argument of أبو حنيفة? He said that this is قطعي وهذا ظني. وعنده أن التخصيص ما هو؟ نسخ. You can't abrogate by the uncategorical. You can't abrogate the categorical by the uncategorical. لأن زيادة على النص تخصيص عنده وفيها نسخ. Anyways, المهم that we say that unless that there is no specification, that there is no restriction, you keep القطعي in the status of a priority or being prioritized to the uncategorical. The implementations are يعني a lot, لكن هذا مرة أخرى هذا في الاجتهاد بعد ذلك. Then he said والنطق على القياس, transmission over analogy. Okay, that you will give a priority to النص to القياس. That's why we resort to القياس. We don't go to القياس while there is نص. ولهذا بعض العلماء يقولون لا اجتهاد مع النص. That there is no اجتهاد if there is نص. المعتزلة they have some their own arguments like النظام وهؤلاء, لكن يعني وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله, لكن we don't focus on these now. يعني you can focus about it afterwards, but now there is no need to focus on it. المهم that you will give priority to transmission to textual evidence over قياس, like مثلا مصالح and so on and so forth. However, you can specify the text by قياس. Okay, you can specify the text by قياس, and we covered this بحمد. He said والقياس الجلي على الخفي. You give a priority to قياس جلي over قياس خفي. Now, what is the قياس الجلي? It's one of the three. That its علة is mentioned, explicitly mentioned. أن تكون العلة منصوصة. Or العلة, the causal effect, is unanimously agreed upon. Or thirdly, that we are certain in the negation, or that we are certain that there is no difference. Okay, because like what we said, هذا يسمى قياس في معنى الأصل. Sometimes we draw the analogy not by establishing the علة, but in what way? By establishing that there is no difference. أنت معنا يا عبد الله. So you need to, when you hear قياس, is not only about يعني affirming the علة. I think we talked about this. So it's not only about establishing the علة. In many occasions that you're going to draw the analogy, you establish a ruling not by pointing that there is a causal effect and they share the same causal effect. So therefore we will apply the ruling of the original case to the new case. لا, sometimes what we're going to say, that there is no difference. Okay, whereby if we are certain that there is no difference, then the ruling will be the same, because the Sharia does not separate between things that are the same, nor it brings together things which are different. يسمى قياس في معنى الأصل, يعني قياس بنفي الفارق. Okay, وهذا فيه بعض الفقهاء, they are amazing the way that they do it. They won't point to you the علة, but they will prove to you categorically that there is no difference, although sometimes it appears that there is difference. هذا غير قياس الشبه. الشبه, you see shared attributes, and then you say that it is closer to this original than this original. هذا ما يصح. It's not good. We don't accept قياس الشبه. المهم من هذا, this is the يعني how we يعني مثلا, let me give you an example. Allah says you don't consume يعني harmfully the wealth of an orphan. ولا تأكلوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي أحسن. طيب. So this is about consumption. What about damaging it, destroying it? Is there any difference?
No.
Why there is no difference?
Because the illah is harming the yatim.
There is no illah. Just I want you to negate the difference. That there is no difference. القياس بمعنى الأصل. Now, what's the difference between consuming it or damaging it? Huh? Both. They won't make the orphan utilize his wealth when he has the legal capacity to take his wealth. He won't be able to take it. So then there's no difference. So you don't need to say that the illah is مثلا harming the child. لا. The illah is that there is no difference between consuming it or damaging it. Yeah, for example, there is no difference between me drinking the water if I don't take the permission from you, or pouring it out. In both cases, you won't have your water. There is no difference. So there is no illah here, whereby you're going to draw the analogy. لكنه قياس في معنى الأصل. Okay? By negating a difference. قياس بنفي الفارق. So in both cases, in all of these cases, you will give priority to obvious qiyas over obscure qiyas. Okay? So what is obvious qiyas? The three things that we just pointed to. العلة المنصوصة, العلة المجمع عليها, والقياس بمعنى الأصل. Okay. Then he said رحمه الله فإن وجد في النطق ما يغير الأصل يعمل بالنطق وإلا فيستصحب. Now he's talking about presumption of continuity. He said that if a statement is found which changes the default position, the statement is acted upon. Otherwise, continuity is presumed. Okay? ولهذا يا إخوة, we resort to presumption of continuity. That's why it is not allowed to presume continuity before searching for evidence. Every particular issue that you encounter, you need to seek evidence for it. You don't just I will assume continuity. No. You need to look for evidence. In the case that there is an absence of evidence, then you resort to the presumption of continuity. ولهذا we recourse to it, we resort to it. That's why it is weak. It's very uncertain. Because there might be a possibility that there is an evidence. That's why we say that if he does not find evidence, it does not mean that there is no evidence in fact. In reality, the only thing that mujtahid did his best and he didn't find the evidence. That's why he will resort to continuity. And for example, you know hyena? Is it allowed to be eaten? No. Now, what is the presumption? Continuity. What is the presumed continuity? They have what?
Fangs.
Huh?
Fangs.
Fangs. So then what's the default ruling?
Cats have fangs.
That you can't eat animals that they have fangs, they hunt by it. This is the default ruling. This is the default position. طيب. Can you by just looking at because they have fangs and I have this qaida, what I'm gonna do? I will presume continuity. No, you need to go and investigate. In the case that you don't find evidence, meaning there is acceptable evidence, then you go and say, I will presume continuity, therefore it is not allowed. واضح? But let's suppose that you would accept hadith Jabir radiallahu anhu, hadith ibn Abi Umara and Jabir, that the Prophet ﷺ was asked about eating a hyena, and he said, yes, if you accept this, هذا عند أبي داود وعند الترمذي عند الإمام أحمد, then you would take it. You don't like it, this is the difference. The Prophet ﷺ didn't like الضب. You don't like it, nobody says that you need to eat it. Okay? لكن is it allowed? If a person eats it, is he or she sinful? Okay? If you say that I looked for evidence, but I don't find it, either that they don't hear about this hadith, or they heard about it, but they consider it to be weak. Okay? And then they say that there is no evidence. So therefore, I will have presumption of continuity. And so on and so forth. Then you don't go to presumption of continuity until you don't find a statement. You don't find evidence. What is the evidence? Quran, Sunnah, Ijma', Qiyas. If you go with the Masalih al-Mursal, you go with the Masalih Istihsan, you go with Istihsan. If you need مثلا سد الذرائع, you go with. In the absence of all evidences, which you would accept to be evidences, then you resort to continuity. Presumption of continuity. This is هذا مهم يا إخوة. A lot of people now, especially هذول الذين هم العوام, if they hear a new issue, what do? Say, well, this is what I know. This is what I know. لا, you need to look for evidence. ولهذا الثوري رحمه الله يقول إن استطعت أن لا تحك رأسك إلا بأثر فافعل. If you can't, what? If you are able to scratch your head by athar, do. Meaning that you seek evidence. Okay? ولهذا this is one of the reasons that some of al-Imam that they used to يعني go heavy against يعني Abu Hanifa رحمه, that he is not doing that effort. He look around and then he goes to رأي. Immediately he will go to his يعني قواعد. لا, you need to exhaust evidences to the best of your ability. طيب, فهذه إذا قاعدة. So you need to master this قاعدة. What is this قاعدة? You need to exhaust evidences before you resort to presume continuity. To the best of your ability. Allah يقول فاتقوا الله ما استطعتم. Yes.
You will apply this to qiyas as well, like look for evidence before we.
لا, القياس is an evidence. Allah يقول. Okay, that's why we say presumption. Look, now what do you basically say when you say I presume continuity?
You don't have evidence.
You're saying basically I don't know of otherwise. There might be, but I don't know. That's what you're saying. That's why you assume or you presume continuity. That's why it's so uncertain in many occasions. واضح؟ لكن like what you said, that the behavior of a Sharia is that it will resort to uncertainty in the absence of certainty. You don't go to uncertainty if there is a certainty. طيب, then the author رحمه الله said ومن شرط المفتي أن يكون عالما بالفقه أصلا وفرعا خلافا ومذهبا وأن يكون كامل الأدلة في الاجتهاد عارفا بما يحتاج إليه في استنباط الأحكام وتفسير الآيات الواردة في الأحكام والأخبار الواردة فيها. Okay, now he's talking, what did he title it? He's requirements of the legal expert, المجتهد. Exactly. هذه شروط المجتهد, not شروط الاجتهاد. He's talking about, يعني a person, يعني هذا المفتي, who's المفتي? For them, he is the absolute mujtahid. For them, for a person to be mufti, he needs to be absolute mujtahid. What does that mean? Who is absolute mujtahid? The one he is going to point out his conditions. Why يا إخوة? Because al-ijtihad, and we will talk about this because he mentioned al-ijtihad. The last thing, he talked about al-ijtihad. We will talk about it inshallah. Like in generally speaking, the one who is going to give a jurisprudential verdict, fatwa, the mufti, he needs to have that there are conditions. He pointed here some of them because this book is for beginners. That's why he said وَمِن شرطي. Some of the conditions, لأن شرط هذا مفرد مضاف يدل على العموم, يعني ومن شروط المفتي. He said ومن شرط المفتي. Among the conditions of the legal expert or al-mufti are that he is knowledgeable in jurisprudence, its roots, its branches, its disagreements, and its doctrines. That he is completely aware of the indications of independent legal reasoning, recognizing what is needed to derive rulings, the exegesis of verses related to the rulings, and the reports related to them. Okay, now he's talking about, again, the one who will give jurisprudential or juristic verdicts. Now, what is the juristic verdict? Wajib, mustahab, mubah, محرم مكروه صحيح باطل فاسد رخصة عزيمة ركن شرط هكذا. He will talk about jurisprudential rulings, أحكام شرعية. You say that this is مستحب, هذا مكروه, هذا واجب, هذا خلاف الأولى. The one who is going to give these شرعي rulings هذا يسمى المفتي. He said among the conditions, which is a good translation, some. He won't point all the conditions. This is في المطولات, in the lengthy books. Among the conditions of the legal expert are that he is knowledgeable in jurisprudence. This is the first condition. Then he pointed out the meaning of being knowledgeable in jurisprudence. He said its roots, its branches. Okay, Usool Ul Fiqh, and its furu'. Now what he's talking about? He's talking about knowing Usool Ul Fiqh. You can't speak in al-fiqh while you don't know Usool Al-Fiqh. It's a disaster. I will go to Sunnah Bidud and I will just read Sunnah Bidud. This is why we have these shadh, odd, very weird opinions. Because there is no methodology. ما هي just like this. حتى عمر ما يفعل هذا. Okay? حتى عمر he won't do this. وهو ملهم. Okay? فإذن the first thing that a person needs to know is to be rooted in the jurisprudential principles في أصول الفقه. ولهذا قال أصلا وفرعا. Now when he says أصلا, when we talk about أصول الفقه, if he is مجتهد مطلق, what does that mean? That he has his own أصول. And if he's مجتهد مطلق, it means that he has proven them. Definitely he will have book, sunnah and ijma'. Definitely. He can't say otherwise. واضح? So there must be usul, and أصل الأصول, the book of Allah, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and ijma'. So then we will have the roots. However, sometimes we have a mujtahid called mujtahid al-madhab, or sometimes mujtahid al-madahib. What does that mean? He needs to be familiar with usul al-fiqh for al-madahib. To know usul fiqh al-shafi'iyya, usul fiqh al-hanafiyya, usul fiqh al-malikiyya, usul fiqh al-hanabi. This is a must for them. You must know that in order to be mujtahid between al-madahib. You will be able to give tarjih, preponderancy to madhab over another madhab. To say that this is wajib, this is mustahab, and so on and so forth. طيب, if he is mujtahid في المذهب, he is mujtahid في المذهب, he is mujtahid mufti for Hanafi madhab or for Maliki madhab, then he needs to know the usul of his imam, usul al-madhab. It's a must. يجب عليه أن يعلم ذلك. طيب, we have mujtahid that is called mujtahid في المسألة or مجتهد الباب. Also, بعض الأحيان يسمى مجتهد الفتية. We have someone called مجتهد الفتية. المهم, he needs to, up to the level that he's mujtahid in, he needs to meet that usul. He needs to be familiar with them, mastering them, so that he will have the capacity, eligibility to produce verdict. Otherwise, he is يقول على الله بلا علم. يتكلم بلا علم. طيب, then he said its branches, مسائل الفقه, يعني الفروع. Not necessarily, the branches, the particular issues, and they are endless. They are not saying that you need to know all of them, but they say that you know much to the extent that you will, if you don't know, you can return that which you don't know to the things that you know. Really, Allah يقول فوق كل ذي علم عليم. Even the Sahaba, sometimes when they are asked, they say we don't know. So they are not saying that you will know about every single issue. Okay? But you will know much to the extent that will enable you to return that which you don't know to the things that you know. If you are mujtahid mutlaq, you return them back to the book of Allah. Okay? If you are mujtahid fi بين المذاهب, you return them back to al-madahib, and you will know you will do what we call takhrij. If you are within the madhab, مجتهد في المذهب, أن تخرج على أصول إمامك. If you are مجتهد في الفتية, you won't make تخريج على you won't refer them, you will just give the verdict. So you need to know much. Okay? Up to the level where you are mufti in. واضح? So that, what's the point? You need to know a lot of rulings about issues. So for example, if a person, if we take the statement of the author as it is, if a person is, studied الطهارة, okay, but he didn't study الصلاة, can he give verdict about الطهارة according to what the author says? No, because you didn't have much. You need to cover all above al-fiqh, so that you will be able to give verdicts about al-tahara up to the level, but you need to know much. You can't just by taking al-tahara you can give verdict. even if it is in الطهارة. And the ikhwa, there is a difference. You need to be familiar with this. There is a difference between initiating the verdict. This is what we call futya, and reporting al-futya. Okay, you can report futya. Al-Ammi يستطيع. He says that I heard that person says such and such. This is called نقل الفتية. You just a transmitter of it. You're not given the futya. That's why it is up to that person. You're not given. You said, I heard that person say such and such. I asked him, and that's what he said. So there is a difference between initiating الفتية and reporting it. فرق بين إنشاء الحكم هذا الذي يسمى عند العلماء بالفتية وبين نقل الحكم. Okay, to be just a medium. You're just a transmitter. الثاني هذا, the later, is جائز. But the former is not allowed but for that person who has enough to speak. Questions related to what we're talking about, or we should continue? Yes, go ahead. تفضل.
Regarding a period of 4 years and 9 months,
Why did Umar رضي عنه choose it?
I wanted to ask about a different period that was referred regarding the man that was kidnapped by the jinn.
Okay.
And that was a period of 2 years, right?
Right.
Is there? How do you reconcile?
We don't need to reconcile because this was based upon the preponderant opinion. It's that the time period that is given for a person who is missed that is based upon the circumstance where we missed him, where يعني, up to what extent that we will know through our habit that he is dead or that he is still alive. And this will have multiple factors. يعني مثلا in the United States with a very high sophistication, advanced technology, if a person is lost in the forest of مثلا Virginia, in Shenandoah, if we missed him in these places, it's not the same if he is in the jungles in Brazil. You would expect the United States to find that person because of the advancement, the technological advancement, high training, even sometimes, it's not necessarily to be the case, but generally speaking, the sophistication, good management, and so on and so forth, you would expect that person is going to be found within, 4 months. That's why after 4 months, they can tell you for surety that now now he is going to be considered for us dead. But in the jungles, let's suppose that we have any government there. They are not as sophisticated as the United States. So you would expect that it will take them more time. It will take you would expect that it will be a year مثلا. So it depends on the ضبط الأوضاع, how things are managed, how government is effective, the circumstance itself. Is it so dangerous whereby, let's suppose that he does not know how to swim, and he is, elderly, in the midst of forest where you have a lot of crocodiles. Then you would expect within مثلا 1 month, he's dead. He's dead. If we go, look around, so we would consider him to be dead. So it depends on the circumstance, how things are managed, the technological advancement and so on and so forth. ولهذا the preponderant opinion that we would consider the missed dead or not dead based on the circumstance and how things are managed. The circumstance where we missed him, is it dangerous, not dangerous, up to what extent it is dangerous, and also how things are managed. How we're going to find him, how we're going to find him out about him. واضح؟ ولهذا if we have a plane, for example, that is missed in the midst of oceanic problems. If it is on the borders of California, it will be managed differently from if it is in the borders of South Africa. This is a fact, ya ikhwan. This is a fact. Whether you like it or not, this is a fact. Now, yes.
For
Maqsad al-Adilla when you're deciding something, when you're giving preponderancy or priority for something obvious versus obscure, is the fact that the early generations with the Sahaba or the Tabi'een, them not delving into something, is that a evidence that they understood it as something obvious?
Right, exactly. This is one of the evidences, meaning that you would say that this is the action of the Sahaba. وقول الصحابي حجة, as we elaborated on before. Yes.
How do you balance between practicing and speaking about what you were taught versus being restrained and withholding your speech about subjects that you were taught about? How do you balance between these?
If you if there is a need to speak, and you know what you're speaking about, and you know of yourself that you will deliver it better than anybody else or more effective, then you go ahead and speak. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا. Let him say good. He didn't say be silent. It is reported عند Imam Ahmad رحمه الله that a man said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "O Rasulullah, should I fast on the day of Jumu'ah? And also I won't speak. I will be silent." He said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you intend to fast one day before it or a day after it, then you fast the day of Jumu'ah. Then you say to him, وَلَا أَن تَأْمَرَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَى عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَن تَسْكُتَ. And if you go command that which is good and forbid that which is bad, it is better than being silent. So then the default rule is that if you are going to speak good, deliver good, and you know about what you're talking about, then you deliver. And there are some good, it's a common thing. It just you remind people about it. مثلا you encourage people to be dutiful to their parents. You encourage people to seek knowledge. This is a common virtue, everybody knows it. Okay? So you remind people about it. Especially if you know that you are effective in your speak, or people need you to speak, then you go ahead and speak. Or if you find that there is nobody to speak but you, everybody is shy, مثلا except you, then you go ahead and speak. المهم then you know that are you gonna deliver good, and when you deliver it you know what you're talking about. And the third measurement is that when you speak, the benefit would outweigh the harm. Yes.
Kind of going off of that question, even though you know what you're saying is good and right, if the other person's not receptive to it and it's not affecting and like making them understand it, even though it's good and true, is it better to stay silent or say?
Again, it depends. If your speech is going to cause him fitna, because the content of your speech is difficult for him to grasp, then you don't speak. As Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said, حدثوا الناس بما يعرفون. يقول إنك ما حدثت قوما حديثا لا تبلغه عقولهم إلا كان لحديث. If you speak to people things that they are above their comprehension, then it will be fitna for some of them. That's why it is better to restrain, not to speak. Ali رضي الله عنه said حدثوا الناس بما يعرفون أتريدون أن يكذب الله ورسوله. He said that Ali رضي الله عنه said that speak to people about what they know. Don't speak about things that is beyond their comprehension, that they can't grasp it, like al-awam, al-ayman. He said, indeed, do you want Allah and His Messenger to be belied? They will be belied because of you. ولهذا the Prophet ﷺ was once approached by a Sahabi, and he said, "O Rasulullah," because he was praying behind Mu'adh. Mu'adh was praying a long time. So the Prophet ﷺ said to him when he came to complain, he said that he is praying for a very long time. He says, what do you say when you make ruku' and what makes it? He said, look, Rasulullah, I ask Allah al-Jannah and I seek refuge from the hellfire. And I don't do your dandana and dandanat Mu'adh. I don't know this, what you do, you and Mu'adh. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so simply to him, حولها ندندن. Okay, we are around what you're saying. Okay, we are around, we're not that far. So he dealt with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, up to his level. So sometimes you need, if that person is not receptive because it is beyond his rational capacity to understand, beyond his knowledge capacity to understand it, then you restrain. Also, if that he won't accept it from you, مثلا, if it is an advice, he won't accept it. He won't accept from you because of some factors. For example, there is some sort of animosity, so it's highly likely that he won't accept. For example, you just got out of from court fighting for $100,000, and when you get out, you say that, look, ya akhi, brother, you don't pray. Huh? You don't pray. It's likely he will say, get out of my face, right? Likely. It is not good, it is not right, but there is a cause for it. It is understood, it is not right, but it's understood. And he should accept it because you're delivering good to him. Like in the circumstance, you didn't choose the circumstance. Also, if give him advice in front of people. Usually people, if you advise them in front of people, they get what? Stubborn, arrogant. They find it difficult to accept. Even if you say something is 100% true, but they won't accept because you are telling them in front of everybody. They won't accept. ولهذا الشافعي رحمه الله يقول تعمدني بنصحك في انفراد وجنبني النصيحة في الجماعة فإن النصح بين الناس عيب وتوبيخ فلا أرضى استماعه. He said that when you want to give me advice, I'm paraphrasing, Shafi'i رحمه الله يقول, he said that when you want to give me advice, give me it alone. Don't give me it, in front of everybody. He said, indeed, if you give me that advice in front of everybody, this is actually a scandal. That's why I won't accept it. So don't be upset. You are the one who chose the wrong place, the wrong time. Also, barakallah feek, one of the things that will make you go ahead and speak or restrain is sometimes that if you speak while there is a person is more knowledgeable than you, or a person who is older than you, then the habit of the Prophet ﷺ as well as the Sahaba to give those people the platform, okay, and to make them speak. Either that they are more knowledgeable, even if you are older than them, but they are more knowledgeable than you, they are given the right to speak. What's the evidence for that? If you are more knowledgeable, if we have a person is more knowledgeable than a person, even if that person is older than him, then the more knowledgeable will be given the right to speak.
The right to lead the prayer.
أحسن في الصلاة. When you are about to lead the prayer, what is the biggest thing? What is the first thing that he ﷺ began with? أقرأهم لكتاب الله. Then he said that if they are equal in terms of knowing the Quran, then Sunnah. أعلمهم بالسنة. If they are equal, what did he say? أقدمهم هجرة, good deeds. If they are equal, then they go to then a sin. Okay, the older. They go to Egypt. So the measurement is knowledgeable, is given a priority. But if they are equal in terms of all of these, then you go to Egypt. That's why he said to Malik ibn Huwayrith, he said to him, وَلْيَأُمَّكُمَا أَكْبَرُكُمَا. The one who will lead you is the older, because they are equal in terms of knowledge. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, when he was about to give the miswak to one, he was told, kabbir, go with the older. Also, في حديث حويصة ومحيصة ibn Mas'ud, in the issue of what we call al-qasama. One of them, he began to speak, and he was the youngest. The Prophet ﷺ said, kabbir, like the one who is older. واضح? And this is called a principle in management even. It's called the principle of seniority. Okay? Kabbir. We go with the seniority. If everybody is equal, then we go with seniority. So if you find a person who is more knowledgeable than you, or a person who is older than you, if he is of similar knowledge, then you make that person speak. You make him speak. هذا هو الأدب. ولهذا جابر بن سمرة, he said that much of what you hear from them, I heard from as they heard. But ما يمنعني إلا أن ها هنا هم أكبر مني سنا. He said that I heard as they heard. Yani he's speaking about Ibn Mas'ud and the likes. because he was in Kufa, like Al-Bara ibn Azib, Hudayf ibn Yaman. But he was young, radiallahu anhu. He said that much of what you hear from them, I heard it. But out of respect, I don't speak because they are older. Because they share that, they have the same knowledge, but they are older than him. So he gives them. Then sometimes you don't speak if there is a person who is more knowledgeable than you, or if you are of equal knowledge, but he is older than you. You give him the right to speak. But let's suppose he says that I don't want to speak, or he refrains to speak, then you go ahead and speak. Then you need to consider multiple factors when you want to speak. ولهذا يسقى المليء من كان من الأملاك فليقل خيرا فليقل خيرا. You only speak good. Now, the last question عشان إخوان. Huh? 9:20. Yes.
So the example we gave on presumption of continuity, where the person was given $1,000 and they disputed whether it was a gift or a debt.
Yeah.
Is the assumption ever relative? Because when I heard it, I assumed the gift was.
So, for example, now both you and Mazen agree that you gave him $1,000. Mazen is saying these are gifts, while you're saying that this is a loan or a capital for investment. I'm waiting for the return. Then who is now? Is it Mazen or you to be that his statement to be taken as the default ruling?
I would assume that.
Yeah.
Because there's no evidence that
You would assume what?
it's a gift.
You would assume there is a gift. People usually give, $1,000 gifts.
Just based on that, I have to prove.
It means there could be a society where this is the gift, the contract.
If this is the society, then you're gonna assume it. لكن الآن just for you're coming to the court, okay? You book an appointment for your suit. Then who is the plaintiff? You're saying that I gave him $1,000. We say that, do you agree? You say yes. Then you say that the $1,000 they are a loan. You say no, they are a gift. We say to you, do you have an evidence, because you are the plaintiff here? Do you have an evidence to prove that you gave him as a loan? You say no, I don't have witnesses, I don't have documents, but I gave him $1,000 and he agrees. But he's saying that they are a gift. We say then we presume the continuity of the default interaction between people. They don't give gifts. People don't give gifts. I mean, in the United States, there is no such gift. They say that there is no such thing as free lunch. Free lunch. That's why in order to encourage people to come, you say that there is what? Free food. Shame. This is shame. And in order to encourage you to come, this is, it goes without saying. How can I invite you without food? What? Just to come? Akid fi food. But in order to encourage people, you say that they come with the free food. That's why it is so materialistic. Morality is so deteriorating. Subhanallah. You need to tell them that there is a free lunch, free food, and even if there is a free food, what is it? Pizza. Subhanallah. But المهم من هذا people, they don't give each other money as gifts. Yeah. طيب let's continue. بعد الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحابته وموالاه. So then among the conditions that we talked about is that he is knowledgeable, he is familiar, he is acquainted with Usool Ul Fiqh, the principles, as well as its matters. يعرف أدلة الفقه الإجمالية وهي الأصول، وأن يعرف الأحكام الشرعية العملية, the acted practical actions. So he knows both. Secondly, it's not necessarily that he will know everything. الله يقول فوق كل ذي علم عليم. But he knows much that will enable him to be able to give verdicts. He said وأن يكون, this is the second condition, وأن يكون كامل الأدلة في الاجتهاد. عندكم كامل الأدلة. Yes, and also I have. طيب أحسنت. خلافا ومذهبا. This is the second condition. That he knows أن يكون عالما بالفقه أصلا وفرعا خلافا ومذهبا. That he knows that he is knowledgeable about the fiqh jurisprudential issues خلافا ومذهبا. خلاف يعني disagreements. ومذهبا, it has two possibilities. If he's an absolute مجتهد, then he will know where to go. His madhab, يعني how to decide where he is going to go. Or if he is mujtahid within the madhab, a legal expert within the madhab, it means that he will know the madhab that he will give verdict by. Because he won't be outside of this madhab. So he needs to know that madhab. That's why, it is one of the most important conditions for a person to give fatwa is to know al-ijma' and to know al-khilaf. At least when he approaches an issue, he needs to know that there is no ijma' here. Even if it is that he is not completely familiar with all the opinions regarding that issue. But at least he knows that there is no ijma'. Because if he does not know ijma', it might be a case that he will give a verdict that will violate ijma'. So you need to know what ijma' is. Okay? ولهذا, for a person to be a legal expert, to give a verdict, jurisprudential verdict, he needs to know مواطن الإجماع, the places, the occasions of ijma', the occasions of unanimity, consensual agreement. And then he will know al-khilaf. Now, up to what? Up to his level of ijtihad. If he has absolute ijtihad, then he will know all what people say. That's why قتادة رحمه الله said ليس الفقه أن تعرف ما اتفق عليه الناس. This is easy. He said that the fiqh is not to know about agreement. الفقه كل الفقه, indeed الفقه كل الفقه is what? Is to know ما اختلف فيه الناس. Because if you know what people disagreed about, then you know what they have agreed on. When you know what they have, what's the agreement, it means that you know the different perspectives. That's why you will look at it, you will think about it. It's a difference between knowing one opinion. You don't have that much fiqh. It's like you know only the opinion of your madhab. Al-fiqh, the real fiqh, is to be broad, okay, to know what's going on. واضح؟ فإذا هذا when the author رحمه الله said خلافا ومذهبا, خلافا meaning disagreements, ومذهبا, if he is absolute mujtahid, it means that he will go to his madhab, to his choice, to his opinion. If however he is not absolute mujtahid, then up to the level, he will know the madhab. If he is mujtahid within madhab, then he will know the madhab of his imam. مجتهد في الباب, he knows that which is related to that bab, and so on and so forth. Clear? Then he said وأن يكون كامل الأدلة في الاجتهاد. Let's say وأن يكون كامل الآلة. Okay, كامل الآلة. If the copy you have, it says كامل الآلة, then this is correct. If it is كامل الأدلة, fix it. Now, what is كامل الآلة? Now, what did he say? Its disagreements and its doctrines, that he is completely aware of the indications of independent legal reasoning, recognizing what is needed to derive rulings. Yes, هذا هو كامل الآلة. Now, what is كامل الآلة يا إخوة? It has two things. الآلة يعني the instrument, or the natural capacity. For a person to be faqih, it means that he has some talent. He is gifted. Allah Azza wa Jal gave him some gift. What is it? يقول العلماء الذكاء وجودة الفهم. Okay, that he is smart. Also, he understands. Because there is a difference here between being smart and being understanding. So you need to for a person to be faqih, they say that he needs to have this talent, أن يكون ذكيا, not necessarily to be genius, but to be smart. And then وأن يكون حسن الفهم, جيد الفهم. What is جيد الفهم يا إخوان؟ جيد يعني you comprehend that which is presented to you in order to grasp the issue at hand, so that you will be able to examine it, scrutinize it, and so on and so forth. طيب, if it is not this, the author رحمه الله said وأن يكون كامل الآلة في الاجتهاد عارفا بما يحتاج إليه في استنباط الأحكام وتفسيرها. He might need this, he might intend this. So he's not talking about being smart, and it goes without saying. So he's not talking about being smart, easily to understand. No, he's talking about that which comes after. What did he say? That you are aware of the indications of independent legal reasoning, recognizing what is needed to derive rulings. Okay, عارف بما يعني you know the how to derive rulings. How? By Usool Ul Fiqh. You know, يعني you need to be very well equipped in order to have the ability to derive rulings. Also, the exegesis of verses related to the rulings. يعني أن يعلم آيات الأحكام.
عندي من النحو واللغة.
لا, ما عندي أنا هذا.
النحو واللغة ومعرفة الرجال والتفسير.
لا, I don't have these. طيب, so he did that he needs to know النحو يعني grammar. Okay, and now which grammar? To what language? Arabic language. Okay, definitely. أنا يا إخوة, in my last visit هذه, I met a person who got his PhD from Malaysia University. He does not speak, when I speak Arabic, he says to the one next to me, what did he say? كيف هذا? It does not work. You lose your credibility immediately. ما في يجي هذا. You need Arabic. Definitely you need Arabic. لابد من it's not ألف باء تاء, كيف حالك? ليس هذا هو اللغة العربية. It's not do you say that I speak English so that I will teach in academia? If I go to a supermarket and say, hi, how are you? What's up? How are you doing today? Do you have a cucumber? You need a level of a language that will enable you to understand the materials and to communicate them. Okay? فلا بد من العربية. So you need to know grammar. مثلا الآن at least مثلا تأخذ الألفية, تنتهي من الألفية مع شرح ابن عقيل, or تأخذ المفصل لابن يعيش مثلا, or you take مثلا كتاب الزمخشري. you have some ground. You know grammar. What did he say also? واللغة. You know the sciences of language. Like what? البلاغة. البلاغة eloquency. You need to know that. لابد من هذا. Also, أن تعرف من علوم اللغة علم التصريف derivation. علم الاشتقاق. You need to know that. Also, علم المفردات. Okay, the meaning of words. You need to have sufficient amount of words, vocabularies, in order to have easy accessibility to the Quran. The Quran is not Arabic, it's the highest. So you need to be able to access that. Also the statements of the Prophet ﷺ, the statement of the Sahaba. So you need to know that. That's why you need to know al-gharib, the strange words. Strange words meaning to you, mean that they are not commonly used, even they are used in the Quran. During the time of the revelation, they were not strange, but they will be strange as time goes, as we go away from the language. لهذا you need to be familiar with this. Also, he said, ومعرفة الرجال. He's speaking about knowing men, meaning that whether they are acceptable or not acceptable. هذا في علم الحديث. Okay, do you know that person or not? ولهذا أحمد رحمه الله ليس بعالم من لم يعرف رجال. A person who does not know man men, يعني narrators. He's not alim. Why? Why? Because in order to reach the ruling, you need this isnad, you need this chain. If you don't know those people, what does that mean? That you're going to imitate others. Unanimously agreed upon. If you are an imitator, you are not alim. You're not mujtahid. So he said that ليس بعالم من لم يعرف الرجال. You need to know men. Definitely you need to know men. Then he said, what tafsir? And you know about the exegesis of the Quran, the interpretation of the Quran. Now, but he said ayat al-ahkam, that they are related to ayat related to halal and haram, yani rulings. Some of the ulama said that they are 500, like Al-Izz ibn Abd al-Salam. Al-Juwayni said they are actually 250 ayat al-ahkam, yani they are specific. Lakin if you take ayat al-ahkam, you can say the whole Quran is ayat of ahkam, bil-mantuq wal-mafhum, بأنواع الدلالة الثلاثة: دلالة المطابقة ودلالة الإلزام ودلالة التضمن. Okay, if you utilize all of these, يكون القرآن كله. Okay, ولهذا you need to know the interpretation of the entire Quran basically. But you begin with ayat al-ahkam at least, and you know the interpretation of the entire Quran. And the first thing that you begin with when you want to interpret the Quran is tafsir who? The interpretation of the Quran by the Quran. The interpretation of the Quran by the Sunnah. The interpretation of the Quran by Sahaba. The interpretation of the Quran by At-Tabi'un. And then you go to Al-Lugha. Lakin you need this. لا بد من تعلم هذا. That's why you need a time. Okay? لا بد, if you want to learn. Okay, you don't well, I attend this course. You attend this course, this is introductory. هذه يسمى مداخل العلوم. If you want to seek knowledge, you need time. لابد هذا، لابد أن تعرف هذا. Even if you are so genius, you need time. Shafi'i was so genius, he needed time. ولهذا ماذا يقول الشافعي رحمه الله؟ يقول أخي لن تنال العلم. Look, this is a statement by a very expert person. يقول أخي لن تنال العلم إلا بستة سأنبيك عن تفصيلها ببيان. أخي لن تنال العلم إلا بستة سأنبيك عن تفصيلها ببيان: ذكاء وحرص واجتهاد وبلغة وصحبة أستاذ وطول زمان. 6. Should we write them here? Shafi'i said that, look, my brother, you won't get knowledge, يعني you won't get something, considered. Okay? Not, quoting here, have a hadith here. لا, you want knowledge, you speak knowledge. You don't speak about knowledge, you speak knowledge. When you speak knowledge. He said, أخي لن تنال العلم إلا بستة. But by 6, you need to have 6. ذكاء, you need to be smart. Not genius here. But definitely, knowledge, it's out of its, in of its nature, is elite. That's why it's not for everybody. Not everybody to be, مثلا, carpenter, okay, or plumber, or not everybody with these. Allah, people, or مثلا electrician. Knowledge has its if you can be electrician and عالم, لكن still you need to be smart, not to be genius, okay, to be outlier هكذا, لا, but you need to have stupid. How Allah ما خلقك لهذا سبحانه. Allah Azza wa Jal didn't create that person to be for this path. He will be so good in collecting money, but he won't, he's Allah ما خلقه لهذا. That's why you find some people, they struggle. And part of the problems of the educational system now, that it's mandatory for everybody. And some people, they are not for education. They just can't make it. It's to save their time. Since they know how to read, how to write, يعني some basic skills that they are needed for the يعني for their life, then okay, what do you want? Do you want to go for مثلا يعني labor work? This is what they are good at. Okay, they can go to the يعني farms. They can a lot of يعني life is not just about education. Because they make it now, everybody thinks he knows. Because they make it obligatory. Every person must go. It's a choice. It's a privilege. ولهذا لابد يا إخوة مثل ما قال الشافعي رحمه you need to have smart you know to be smart again and over again, not genius. هذا يختلف. لكن you have some level of intelligence. Okay, to be smart. And to be smart يا إخوة sometimes it is يعني you're born with that and it is acquired also. And the more you seek knowledge, the more that you see that يعني continue to be يعني grow your smartness. So هذا الأول ذكاء. والذكاء by the way يا إخوة الذكاء has multiple facets. Some people are socially intelligent. Some people are bodily intelligent. That's why they are good in sport. Okay, this is Yahoo, by the way, smart. This is because of their mind. They can, match their body movements because their brains they are good with it. But if you bring مثلا Einstein, you can. If you ask him to shoot هذا, he will يعني مثلا throw it 20 times. Once will be close. One will be close. Because he's not Allah Ajal, he didn't give him this. He's not smart here. الذكاء هذا من الله. Okay, but لازم يكون عندك ذكاء. لابد من ذكاء. Some people they have emotional intelligence. They understand the emotions of others, especially women. They are given this. ولهذا يقول الشاعر عيناك قد أبدتها عيني منك على أشياء لولاهما ما كانت تبدي. Your eyes telling me a lot about you. Whether that you like me or you dislike me. Whether that you are happy now or you're not happy. Even rich people, they have one way of looking different than poor people. Even if they dress the same, they attend the same conference, just by looking at their eyes, you can know that that person is rich or not. Even sometimes you know that that person is good with his parents or not. ذكاء عاطفي يسمى, emotional intelligence. Some people they are very well equipped with this. Subhanallah, they are talented, they are given this. Emotional intelligence. From him, it has multiple facets. One of them is to be smart and seek knowledge, having information, analyzing هكذا. Secondly, قال هي ذكاء وحرص. حرص. الحرص, it means heavy effort, not just effort. You need heavy effort in order to get knowledge. Again, you can be, you love knowledge, you love to attend the classes. But you can attend the classes, not taking notes, attending 500 classes, but you will miss a lot. You need effort. You need to put effort, not even taking notes. You need to come prepared, read at least 5-6 books. Then you come prepared, take good notes. Then you go to revise, summarize. You need to put effort. That's why he said حرصا. He didn't say اجتهاد. حرص. الحرص شدة الطلب. That's why صلى الله عليه وسلم said حرص على ما ينفعك. احرص على ما ينفعك. الحرص هو شدة الطلب. Then بذكاء وحرص. Then he said واجتهاد. You keep going. You might put effort for 1 year and then you feel yourself alhamdulillah, I have some brothers that they will do for 1 year مثلا. You need to keep on, okay, to push yourself واجتهاد, because لا ينال العلم براحة الجسد. Who says this? يحيى بن أبي كثير. He said that look, you won't take knowledge by comfort. This is a fact, ya ikhwa. This is a fact. Allah Azza won't change the laws of the universe because of you. This is a fact. You want to take knowledge, you need to put effort. That's why Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, he was once asked, when are we going to have comfort? He said, after the first step in Al-Jannah. This is where you're going to be comfortable. That does not mean that you won't comfort yourself so that you will return back stronger. But the point here is that you won't get it while you are sleeping, while you are, having a lot of picnics. it does not go alone. ما يجي هذا. Does not work unless you have revelation. Okay, if you have revelation, you don't receive revelation. You seek it. You seek that revelation, and it's delivered behind it. But you seek it. You go for it. You're not like the Prophet ﷺ. He didn't even know it. وما كنت ترجو أن يلقى إليك الكتاب. You don't even, you were not even expecting it. هذا هو الوحي. This is the difference. The major difference between us and the Prophet ﷺ, that his knowledge is what? Not by reading and writing, by الوحي. He receives revelation. عليه الصلاة والسلام. ولهذا هو أمي علم الدنيا. He is an illiterate who taught all people صلى الله عليه وسلم. لأن علمه مبلغ عن الله. إذن ذكاء وحرص واجتهاد وبلغة. You need some financial stability. نعم. You can't هذا يا إخوة. A seeker of knowledge, he needs money if you want to keep going. If you don't think about your bills, it doesn't work. ولهذا كان الثوري رحمه الله, he used to, not الثوري, سفيان بن عيينة, if he is told about a person he is in love with the hadith, say, give his parents, his family, the glad tidings of bankruptcy. Because he will be so focused on that. That's why they don't. Now you see, the most educated people, put aside economics. Most educated people, they have lower income. The smartest people, by the way, on the planet, they are average class, in the middle class. Why? Because this is not even their ambition. They don't care. They are so consumed. This is their love. This is their enjoyment. What have they did? What does the United States do? They bring these geniuses from all around the world, put them in what they call think tanks, put them together, give them, 500,000 yearly to live comfortable, to buy a house, comfortable. They have books, attend conferences, they do their work. 500,000, it's nothing for the US government or big institutions. But they have constant, innovations, explorations. They will get billions of dollars because of these points. Those people, they don't care about these. What they care about, the enjoyment of their minds. واضح؟ فإذا if you seek knowledge, you need stability. You don't need to be rich, but you need to be financially stable. You don't think about bills. That's why if you want these minds to be so productive, give them the stability of minds, and look how they are going to be so productive. So productive. ولهذا أحمد رحمه الله, he was not فقير, but they are adjusted to live with the minimum. Okay, not to ask people. لكن if you المهم جدا هذا يا إخوة طالب العلم, you need to have what they call here مثلا passive income. Okay, don't think about the bills, consuming, مثلا you have children, and you will be distracted. ولهذا if you want to seek knowledge, one of the things that will pave the way for you is to be financially stable. مهم جدا to have a secure job or secure income. مثلا do you think مثلا يحيى بن معين he inherited hugely. He inherited 1 million dinars, gold, with 2 orchards. That's why he devoted himself entirely for a hadith. That's why Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, he said that this man, Yahya ibn Ma'in, I swear by Allah, he was created for a hadith. It was said to him, how do you know that? He said that he inherited from his father 1,000 dinar and 2 orchards. بستانين في بغداد. He said he spent them all for seeking hadith. What does that tell you? He was comfortable, but he has enough. But he spent it all for ilm al-hadith. He said, I wrote by my hand more than anybody since the time of Adam. During his time. He said that I wrote a lot. That they used to say that any hadith that you don't find it in the books of Yahya ibn Ma'in, there is not hadith. Rahimahullah. So then what does that tell you? It tells you that he gave a lot and they enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. فإذا المهم من هذا يا إخوة that you need what? Financial stability. If you want to seek knowledge, you don't think about the bills. If you think about the bills, this is going to cause some distraction. مهم هذا يعني I'm not saying that you are rich. Alhamdulillah, if you don't care about the bills, you are so rich. So rich. خلاص, you're focused on that. Whatever you have, you buy books, you buy your materials, you هكذا. طيب. ذكاء وحرص واجتهاد وبلغة وصحبة أستاذ. You need to accompany أستاذ. أستاذ يا إخوة, this is a Persian word. It means حاذق, master. Okay? You don't go yourself. ولهذا كان السلف يقولون من كان شيخه كتابه غلب خطأه صوابه. If your sheikh is your book, then your mistaken will be more than what you do correctly. That's first. Secondly, a sheikh يا إخوة will bring to you that which is scattered in the books, because he already he knows that. So he will bring them together to you. You don't need to do all of these. He'll bring them together. Then afterwards, you're going to expound your research. But he will bring together things to you. Many of the materials that you hear, they are coming from 20, 30 books. You need to you need to go to 20, 30 books. But because he read them more than the number of your hairs. Okay? He read them. So when you go to Shaykh, to alim, to a scholar, to a specialist, expert, he will give you all the material. يعني مثلا, if you go to مثلا a professor, you go to now that he will present you the materials. Just go to the references of his dissertation. 1,200 references. He went all over these materials. He's presented to you the summary. So he will be so helpful. You need Shaykh. Okay? لابد من الشيخ، لابد أن تأخذ من العالم. وإذا كان السلف يقولون تلقوا العلم من أفواه الرجال. Take it from the mouths of men, من الأشياخ. how many Shaykh did Ahmad have? More than 2,000. More than 2,000. رحمه الله. ذكاء وحرص واجتهاد وبلغة وصحبة أستاذ وطول زمان. You need time. You need time. Okay? لا بد من الوقت. Now, how long? It depends. Some people, they need 5 years, 6 years. Some people need 20 years. Depends how much effort, the level of their smartness. But in all circumstances, they need time. You need time. You can't just get it. You can't just, attend summer classes, you wake up in the morning and add it. It does not work. You need time. And also you keep going, by the way. There is no time, you say, كنا زمن الطلب. During the time when we're seeking knowledge. وش هذا? Ahmad, he didn't say. Ahmad ibn Hanbal never said that during the time when we're seeking knowledge. You keep seeking knowledge. ولهذا أحمد يقول من المحبرة إلى المقبرة. What is المحبرة يا عبد الله? From the tablet to the grave. Constantly. Abdullah Mubarak rahimahullah, it was said to him when he was coming back from Syria, from the Levant, just before 13 days of his death. It was said to him, when are you going to stop? قال لعلي ما وجدت الكلمة التي فيها نجاة. I might not yet found the word, because of it I will be rescued. So what does that mean? He will continue. Because every word you say, it might be the other word, it might be the other word. So you keep seeking knowledge. Musa was a prophet. When he didn't say Allahu A'lam, Allah Ajal disciplined him. He sent him to a person who is more knowledgeable than him in that particular issue. In order to keep seeking. ما فيها. Allah يقول وقل رب زدني علما. Allah Ajal didn't command us to ask him something to give us more, but knowledge. العلم. He said وقل رب زدني علما. Allah says, say, Rabbi, my Lord, increase my knowledge. Increase your knowledge. The moment ولهذا مالك رحمه الله يقول متى قال الرجل عالم إني عالم فهو جاهل. in order to know the moment that you are ignorant, when if you say I am عالم, الله يقول فوق كل ذي علم عليم. والله يقول ما أوتيتم من العلم إلا قليلا وقل رب زدني علما. العلم يا أخوة بحر لا ساحل له. Knowledge is so much. Okay. ولهذا يا أخوة there is a statement in English. They say that the end of our exploration is to explore more. The end of our exploration is to explore more. For the beginning of no exploration. لابد من هذا. لابد that you will continue. فإذا لابد الإنسان أن يعلم ذلك. ثم قال والأخبار الواردة فيها. And also to know reports يعني أحاديث, narrations. If you say that a statement of Sahabi is authoritative also. So you need to know al-akhbar. Now al-akhbar يعني reports related to what? To al-ahkam, to halal and haram. Okay, one of the best things that you can access is what? Bukhari, Muslim and Abu Dawud. And Sunan Abu Dawud. To the extent that like Abu Bakr ibn Arabi, you say that if you have al-Bukhari, if you have the Book of Allah and Sunan Abu Dawud, this is sufficient. You don't need anything. لا, he said that you don't need anything. هذا أبو بكر بن عربي is not يعني he's عالم. هذا هو يعرف الحديث. هو شرح الترمذي. Yes.
Does the Mufti have to mention the khilaf? Does the Mufti have to mention the khilaf?
لا. Yes.
So how would you suggest someone should balance their like worldly affairs like job and school and stuff with the seeking knowledge?
Again, this is يعني this is you need an entire lecture for it. But we can give it principles. First of all, you need time management. You need prioritization. You need organization. يعني during that time, you have organization. You don't just say that I will do this. You need some sort of organization, some sort of schedule. And then you need sacrifice. You need to sacrifice. مثلا not every weekend you go مثلا to visit مثلا. It depends. لكن you need to sacrifice. Definitely. You need to sacrifice. These are principles. Their implementation is different from one person to another. Yes, Imazin, you're about to ask? طيب. Then the author rahimahullah said requirements of one seeking a verdict. So since he talked about the one who will give the verdict, now he's talking about the person who will ask. الذي يسمى المستفتي or المقلد. Okay, the one who seeks the فتية. He said ومن شروط المستفتي أن يكون من أهل التقليد فيقلد المفتي في الفتية وليس العالم أن يقلد والتقليد قبول قول القائل بلا حجة. Among the conditions of one seeking a verdict is that he is among those incapable of independent legal reasoning, so he conforms to the legal expert in his verdict. It is not for the scholar to conform to others. Legal conformity, at-taqleed, is to accept the opinion of someone without knowing its proof. Now he's talking about, again, the one who seeks it. Okay, the seeker of the verdict, not the legal expert, not the jurist, but the one who's seeking it. Who is the one seeking it? Is what we call al-muqallid. Now, the ulama differed. Is there someone in between? We call him al-muttabi'. Okay? Or we have either mujtahid or muqallid. Okay? The preponderant opinion is that in actuality we have 4 levels. If you would like to be more elaborate, we have al-mujtahid in all of its طبقات. Then we have al-mutamadhib. Then we have al-muttabi'. And then we have al-muqallid. عندنا المقلد. Now, al-mujtahid, we talked about it, or him or her, and we will talk about him even more. The second one is what we call المتمذهب. Who is المتمذهب؟ الذي يلتزم مذهبا في فروعه وفي أصول. لا, the one who sticks to a madhab in his usul as well as his furu'. Okay, in his principles as well as his particular issues. Then we have what we call muttabi'. Who's a muttabi'? Is the one is accepting by the verdict by evidence, although he can't answer or rebuttal the evidences that they are used by others. Now he is muttabi', wattaba'a. He is not completely imitator, because in fact the fact of the matter is that he's not following now. He's following the evidence that he's presented. Okay, ولهذا يسمى متبعا. This is a person who is called muttabi'. Now there's a difference between, I say to you, you say to me, مثلا, for example, what's the ruling of mutual funds? Okay, I say to you, they are not allowed. You are now imitator. Okay, because you don't know why. But if you say to me, why? What's your evidence? Then I present you an evidence. Definitely there are other opinions that they say that they are مثلا allowed. But I just give you the evidence of my opinion, my verdict. So now you have an evidence. In actuality, Muhammad ibn Hazm, you say that it is a must upon you when you ask a person, you ask him for an evidence. Although the preponderant opinion is that it is preferable, not obligatory. Because it depends, because some people that they used to ask the Sahaba, and the Sahaba won't provide evidences. But it's preferable. Because in order not to follow me per se, but you follow the evidence. Now you are called what? Muttabi', يعني follower, which is better than imitator. Huh? Definitely. But you don't go to rebuttal. يعني مثلا, if the other side presents you their argument, you don't have the ability to rebuttal it. But you follow what you follow based on evidence. So this is called following. هذا يسمى المتبع. Then we have the muqallid. Who is the muqallid? The imitator. And he is the one that the author رحمه الله is talking about. هذا المقلد. لأن التقليد مأخوذ من القلادة. What is القلادة? To tie on your neck. هذا الآن, you see the necklace? It's called قلادة. قلادة because it's hanged around your neck. It's called قلادة. In the Arabic language also, if you want to appoint a person for a position, تقول قلدته كذا وكذا. قلدته العمل. يعني I put him in charge. تقلد العمل. He is in charge. Okay? Why? Because he's taken responsibility for it. So basically, what is imitation? التقليد is that you take the opinion or the statement or even the action, if we say that it is allowed to imitate actions for other than the Sahaba and the Prophet ﷺ. That you take it without knowing from where did he take it. Look here, there is two levels. That you take it without evidence, bila hujjah, or you take it while you don't know from where he takes it, but he has evidence. Okay? So if you just walk up in the streets, walk into the streets, then you encounter a person, then you ask him, then he will answer you just because he has a lengthy beard. Okay? Meaning that you don't know whether that he has an evidence or not. هذا لا يجوز. Haram. You are responsible for that. Your liability is still busy. Even if he tells you the truth. Because you're not seeking from Allah يقول وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا. You need to go, enter houses from their doors. You don't jump, even if you are inside the house. مثلا, let's suppose that a person stole your pocket. Then he got inside his house. Now you can knock the door, enter the door, get your pocket, or jump. In both cases, you got the pocket, but you didn't do it in the proper way, in the later way. فإذا not only that he will tell you something out of guess and he will be right. You need to go in the right way, because this is very rare. He does it once, he won't do it for the rest of times. فالمهم إذن there is two levels, that you imitate a person in the sense that you don't know from where he got what he got, but he has evidence to back it up, or you take it from a person and you're not sure whether that he can back it up or not. The later is haram, لا يجوز. Okay? I think I related to you before that my father, he has a long beard. He said that while I was circumambulating the Kaaba, he was making tawaf. A person came and he made salam and shook my hand. He said that I want to ask for verdict, for fatwa. Then my father went on to discipline. He said, why you didn't go to that person or to that person? Do you want me to let you know why you came to me? Because my beard is long. هذا السبب. The only credentials that for you, that attracted you to me is that because I have a long beard. ترى الشافعي يا إخوة, this giant, his beard is so small. Right? Ahmad, he didn't have a long beard. Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah. المهم then it's not a you don't if you know that person can't back it up, هذا لا يجوز. So what is a taqleed that is acceptable jurisprudentially? A taqleed, it means that you know that he can back it up, but you don't know the backup. You don't know the evidence, but he can back it up. If you ask him for evidence and you have the capacity to understand it, he will give it to you. Not only one evidences. واضح? فإذن, what is a taqleed? Again, imitation. What is it? Not to follow, to accept. Accept what a person says, knowing he can back it up. ولك لا تدري من أين قاله. You don't know from where did he get it, but you trust him that he can back it up. As opposed to a person who would ask a person and he is not sure whether or not he can back it up بلا حجة, without evidence. هذا لا يجوز. هذا التقليد محرم. ولكن التقليد نوعان. One taqleed is acceptable jurisprudentially, one taqleed is not acceptable. Now, what is the taqleed that is acceptable? That you know he has hujjah, he has evidence, but you don't know what it is. The second one is that you know, or you are not sure that he can back it up, and that you accept his statement without knowing that he can back it up. هذا لا يجوز. طيب نكمل إن شاء الله في المجلس القادم يعني.
So you mentioned the main word in Japanese, that if a layman is not supposed to follow somebody, he can't back up their evidence. But how is he supposed to discern if that person is qualified or not?
Okay, there are at least three obvious ways. If he sees people, especially people of knowledge, they recognize him. Okay, not necessarily that they give him tazkiyah, like with the English. Tazkiyah sometimes it's meaningless. But you see that the people of knowledge, they recognize him. And there are multiple ways of recognizing him. Like sometimes they ask him. Sometimes they refer to him. If someone asks them, they say to go to that person. Sometimes if they are asked about that person, they say it's okay to take وهكذا. So this is one way. The community of scholars, they accept it. Not everyone, but the scholars, they recognize it. ولهذا scholars, they know scholars. يعرف بعضهم بعض. That's why we don't care about tazkiyah. Tazkiyah, PhD, all of these stuff, these are signs, not ways of recognizing or identification. The second way is to be known by the community, the Muslim community. If you are in a Muslim country or a Muslim majority country, like what they usually call them now, if you are in these places and you see people respect him, take from him, and so on and so forth, this is one way to know that he is eligible to be taken from. A third way is that if he is able to know, for example, that he asked him several times and his answers are agreeable by other scholars. So he's not delivering something odd. مثلا he asked them 10 times. 10 times he يعني مثلا 9 out of 10 his answers are matchable with other and already recognized scholars. This is one way also to know that he is an eligible, reliable scholar.